Internal combustion. What is it? What does it do? More importantly, how does it work? Well, today I'm going to tell you exactly that on the topic of internal combustion. First, let's start at the structure of the engine. What is inside of it? First, we'll talk about the engine block. Every internal combustion engine has an engine block. This engine block is the building block for your engine. Engine blocks are usually made out of cast iron or aluminum because of their ability to transfer heat to coolant. In every engine block, there is a cylinder. These cylinders are also usually made out of the same material as the engine block, which is cast iron and aluminum, because of their ability to transfer heat to coolant. This cylinder holds pistons. These pistons move up and down inside of the cylinders, which I can show you in a minute. So like I just said, I'm going to show you pistons. This here is a piston. Now note that this piston is from a 2-stroke weed whacker that I took apart to get this piston from. Real pistons in an engine are like this big. They're pretty big, not as small as this, right? These pistons move up and down on a crankshaft or camshaft, depending on your engine, to move the rear wheels. Ultimately, it'll look something like this. Down here, you have your crankshaft, and up here you have your pistons. They move up and down like this, and they move your gearbox back here. But what in the engine actually makes these pistons go up and down inside the cylinders? Well, that's a little harder to explain. Basically, engines today, every internal combustion engine on the road, is a 4-stroke engine, meaning that for it to complete one full cycle, it goes in 4 strokes. It goes to top dead center, to bottom dead center, bottom to top, top to bottom, bottom to top again. It looks a little something like this. Right now, we're going to look at cylinder number 1 right here. 1 stroke would be going from top dead center to bottom dead center like that. Another stroke, it's 2 strokes, top dead center, bottom stroke, that's bottom dead center again, and then top stroke, that is 4 full strokes that we just completed, which means 1 full cycle, intake, compression, power, exhaust, all occurred, which means that this engine can now run. But that's not all that's happening. Again, there are 4 strokes: intake, compression, power, exhaust. What this means is that if we look right here on cylinder number 1, that is the intake valve. This is the exhaust valve right here. Most modern day engines have 4 valves, 2 exhaust, 2 intake, but since this is an older model, we're just gonna say that it's only 1 intake and 1 exhaust, just for now, right? So, when this piston moves down, it goes into the intake stroke, which means this valve opens and lets all the gas and air into the chamber that's necessary for the piston to burn and do whatever it needs to do. Piston then comes up again. It goes into the compression state, which it compresses and pushes everything together. All the gas and air is pushed together, and then power. Everything burns, and all of the gases, they just, everything blows up, and then exhaust. Now, all the bad toxins and CO2 that comes from the engine goes out of the exhaust valve, through the exhaust system, and out of the car, which is, you might know. In newer cars, on the air side of things, there is a throttle body. That throttle body opens a certain amount depending on how much you're pressing on the pedal. In a car like this is a 1999 Jeep, there's a direct cable from the pedal to the throttle body that opens it up a certain amount, depending on where your foot is on the pedal, so that air can go in to exact the amount of fuel that is being put into this piston, so that it works just right. On the fuel side of things, there's something called fuel injectors. Those fuel injectors go straight into the intake valve. That intake valve needs to have the fuel injector right next to it so that when the air goes into the cylinder, the gasoline can also go into the cylinder at the exact same time, making it the perfect mixture of air and fuel. Just like how I like the perfect mixture of flour, water, and eggs in my cake. But how does the gas explode in the gas chamber? Well, that's thanks to this. This here is a spark plug. Nothing in your gasoline engine could work without this little guy. One problem: these spark plugs can't run all at the same time. Otherwise, the leftover gases would spontaneously combust at the wrong time, making it so that the engine doesn't work right. All the pistons are firing at the same time, nothing works. So you need something to time these so that these spark plugs will go off at the right time when the piston is going from the compression stroke to the power stroke. Newer engines like this have one coil for every cylinder. There's a coil in here, one in here, one in here, one in here. Each of those coils run to the spark plug through one of these wires that you see right there. But there's still the problem of how those engines are timed. Well, a new engine uses a thing called an engine control unit, or ECU, that controls what time the coil will send a spark through the wire to the spark plug so that everything can explode, like me when I come home from taco night. All of these aspects work perfectly together in unison so that you can get the perfect sound of internal combustion.